This is called Viracocha Creation Factory. This was written, by the way, about a year ago when this place was slowly coming together. And there was a time when it had two toilets right next to each other. So there's a reference to that, so I didn't want to confuse anyone. In case I'm seeing double, I'm not. It was like that. There are cast iron typewriters on a table of the Lost Supper, on the roller skates of Cinderella, an old piano like a woman who has been around the block and still responds to the slightest touch in a room of high feelings. The walls are covered in recycled wood. There is a record playing, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. And eccentric souvenirs from an old and washed up century with an industrial focus. The collector's items are on disconnect. The truck stops here, unloading random objects like the droppings of a civilization which has left a pavement in its wake. The basement is a dungeon with dark walls and tortured poets. They are chained to the will by links of language. They rattle their linguistic chains and make the most of their condition with their mystic brains. The vain are mystified. A miracle of the rose is in the offing. Smell the coffee and the THC. The monologue of someone with unconscious X-ray vision. You may wonder what it meant while sitting in a circle with your disappearing peers. A circular history is pulling at your intuition, and you realize the building is a time machine. In the free basement, there are people who reveal their thoughts. The rusty and the well-oiled gears of subjectivity, it's tempered by the outside world. It comes with nuts and lightning bolts and violin strings attached. Who lives here? An insomniac who moves through life like he is in a Cadillac. The rooms are haunted by the dark side of his spectrum. In respecting the creative, he's becoming a creationist, a phantom of the opera. He could rip off his mask at any moment. He's inhabiting the background, messing with the sound effects, and tuning up the context of a beggar's banquet at the end of the world. There's an alcoholic coughing on a scaffold. It is business as unusual. Installing a behavioral sink. A pipe dream of the plumbing with two toilets side by side. They're more about duality than competition. The proprietor, a writer with imported props. The borders are dissolving in his head. He doesn't sleep, but he's the opposite of a vampire. He's giving blood. If anything, he is an orphan in a morphine universe. He won't do morphine, and more power to him. Being numb is not the point. He went to a lethargic college of delirious aptitude. He is hallucinating with exactitude a venue that transcends the zoning laws. We need a hybrid halfway house, a little shop of horror ores, Echo Pomo in a twilight zone, a speakeasy for the microphonic mutants in this town. It can improve your anthropological insight if you hang out for an hour in the time-lapse room, and it is not far from amnesia. There's a part 2 to this. It's a little abstract. Or maybe not. So, but it's not that long. This is sort of riffing off the letters in the word Viracocha is what it's doing. Vacillating inhabitants recycle an amorphous condition. The organs are coordinated. Hours of autonomy. Vodka in remembrance of an absolute. The codependents occupy the copy of a home away. Voices in the room, an ambience of common oral choirs and hot air. Venus is revolving. A comet orbits the cosmos as the humans age. Valencia is radioactive, with conscientious objectors. The coquettes are haunted animals. The vortex is indigenous. The ruins of another civilization of obtuse countrymen. The hustlers are anonymous. Vertigo, inherit the reflex. An atmospheric curtain of obsidian cellos. Here in aria, the verse of an insurgent and recycled art, a chosen ontology, collaborating hairy androids. Viracocha, infrared apocalyptic circumstantial occupants in a church of the Holy Aioli.